So I guess my name's Daniel Cleghorn. I work as an art program coordinator. Oh.
I didn't press the record. I always do this. Okay, now we're set. Okay. Hi guys, this is the 6th episode of How's Work, and I have Dan as my guest today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. My name's Daniel Cleghorn. I like to go by Dan. I work at Prospect Human Services as an art program coordinator, where I work with individuals with diverse abilities, or more commonly known as disabilities, but I like to see it as just like different ways of finding how to work with them, or like abilities that need alternative approaches. So essentially what I do is I teach like life and employment skills through like art and outdoor programming. Well, there's actually like a funny story behind that.
Yeah.
Where, for a long time in art school, I was working at a liquor store.
Okay.
And it was a great setup. The manager would let me do like homework while working there, so I'd actually even put off homework until I had to work.
Yeah.
And then essentially, like, we got like a new manager, and they didn't really let me do homework and stuff.
Okay.
But I had a couple friends actually at ACAD, where you and I both studied.
Yes, we have.
Who worked at a place called AFS, the Autism Asperger's Friendship Society.
Okay.
Which paid above minimum wage.
Yeah.
And sounded like a cool alternative. So that's how I got into the diverse ability field, and eventually left when I got a job at a commercial gallery. It's no longer present. It's called Michelangelo Gallery in the Devonish building. It was really cool. It was actually kind of a hookup through Garrett, who's a previous guest on the show. And
yes,
Spud.
That's correct. Yeah.
And yeah, lots of crazy stuff happened.
Yeah.
And essentially, they shut down very short notice. One of my best friends passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I kind of got into the cooking field again, which again, there's so many stories.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so many jobs. Yeah.
But the cooking industry is a rough industry, with lots of partying and stuff. And after one night of a little too hard of a party,
right.
I came back and I saw a photo of my buddy Dylan, again, who's passed, and realized I was kind of wasting away my time when he didn't have any time to waste away. So I decided to go to China, which took some processing time. And in the meanwhile, I volunteered for an organization called Indefinite Art Society. Okay. Which is now the National Access Center. Okay. Which is great. Yeah. So then I went to China for a couple years, and one of my friends, Ash, started working for them. When I came back, I was very worried. Yeah. About coming back, because I spent 2 years in China. Right. Where I became started as a teacher, became a manager within a month, then became a foreign principal within a year. Guangzhou Mazi Cultural Communications, GMCC. So my job was kind of hiring teachers, filling in for teachers, opening for schools and stuff like that, creating lesson plans or curriculums and stuff like that. Yeah. Even though I'm dyslexic and have a speech impediment.
Oh, really?
So I always tell my clients, yo, if I can do this shit dyslexic and a speech impediment, you can do anything. Yeah, you really could. The kind of unique thing, and I think it's actually really smart of my boss, I really miss my boss, Dawn from GMCC, is almost like a recruitment agency, but we support our teachers. Oh, okay. All the way through. So thing is, we would hire teachers from abroad, and then we had a network of schools. So instead of the school hiring directly, they would hire through us, and then we would pay the teachers, but we would also support them. So we'd find them housing. If they got sick, one of our office staff could go with them or be a translator over the phone. We would arrange rides, support them getting set up and onward. Yeah. And also the benefit there too is if the teacher or the school didn't like the arrangement, we could find them another place.
Oh, okay, that's so flexible. Okay,
yeah,
nice.
Because a lot of times, like in China, if you get hired by a school, you're there.
Yeah.
And if you want to leave, then you have to apply for a whole new work visa.
Oh God. Okay.
So, our main job was,
to avoid that.
Yeah. So, like, if the school or the teacher wasn't happy, then we could fix that.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, if, let's say the school didn't work out or we didn't have a teacher, then I would have to, like, fill in for a bit.
I see. So you were teaching a little bit then in those moments.
Yeah. Definitely, like, kind of teaching throughout it, but it was, like, not having a consistent base, right? Not being able to establish those relationships.
Yeah.
And then when I became a foreign principal, like... I was the only Westerner for a long time.
Yeah.
And I moved to like a smaller city, so again, less foreign people,
right.
Also a different dialect. And yeah, it's really rough being like, one thing being alone, it's another thing being surrounded by like literally millions of people, but no one to talk to. Well, I picked up some. I definitely should have learned more.
Yeah.
I was accidentally telling people to f*** off for about a year without realizing it.
Oh my God. What was it in Mandarin?
Nima.
Nima. Oh, okay.
Because it's like Ganima is like motherfucker.
Oh no.
So like, what was it? Ni hao ma is like a common greeting, right?
Yeah.
So ni means you.
Yeah.
Hao means good.
Yeah.
And ma is like a question mark.
Yeah.
Kind of like our A, right?
Yeah.
So, ni hao ma, they would ask me and I would be like, woo hao, like I good. And I thought like you question mark.
Yeah.
Would be
the
appropriate response.
Yeah,
like, how you doing?
Yeah.
Like you? But yeah, no, I was just saying like and like in teaching English to little kids, it's a lot of singing, dancing.
Yeah.
A lot more clowning, which like theater background really helped with.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially like in some of the places I was teaching, I was like the first white person they ever saw.
So there are a lot of touching, probably, hey? Being
touching,
like, what?
Crying, too.
They're like, what is this thing?
Well, like, so sometimes I would, like, generally sometimes starting at a school, I would have, like, one of my, like, local co-workers with me. And sometimes, the kids would be crying, and I'm like, oh, like, what are they saying? They're like, why is his face broken? Like... why is his eyes blue? Why is his face have hair? Like, because beards are not seen as clean.
No, okay.
There, and like generally, I was like pretty shaven there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'd be like, his face is broken, his eyes are broken. Like,
what's happening to him?
Yeah, for like a very pale, ginger, blue-eyed person, it's a big difference. So it's really about getting their attention and making it fun, which really helps. Later now, like with my job, is like all about kind of gamification or making it engaging, because like learning, I don't think is effective when it's just wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
It's you have to get their attention and keep their attention and kind of make an investment for them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to get facts across.
Right,
so
right.
It really helped me with my current job now of like, how do I make this fun? If I'm not having fun, are they having fun?
Mm-hmm.
So very different methods, but very much informed my level of like teaching now. Actually, I got into ACAD semi by accident.
Okay.
So yeah, essentially near the end of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I always was like told I was good at art. So I was like, cool, yeah, I'll just go for an art degree. But I wanted to go like bougie. I wanted to go to Emily Carr.
Okay.
But I mixed up the deadlines. So they had like two submission dates. So one was like for an essay on like why you want to go, and then the other one was like your artwork and shit.
Yeah.
So I thought the artwork and shit was like first. So I like spent all this time photographing, getting all of that ready. And then I realized like when I went to go submit it that it wasn't, it was for the essay.
No.
And I didn't have enough time. So I was like, darn it. And ACAD had like an early acceptance kind of competition. So where you could like submit your kind of artwork, and if you got accepted into the show, then you got early acceptance.
Oh, surreal. I didn't know that they had something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was like kind of an AP art, but I became like an unofficial TA for 6 months.
Really?
Yeah, my theater teacher got like stuck teaching fine art, even though like I had him in another class called PDA, which fortunately isn't about how to make out.
Oh, okay.
There's professional developments in the arts, and like tried drawing something on the board. He's like, I can't draw worth shit. I had like a spare, and I was supposed to be in the AP art, and so I was working on like a series, and then I saw him there. I was like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know. School board just said, like, saw arts, and now I'm here. Yeah. And I was like, all right. And like these 10 graders were just like asking basic questions. So I was like, yo, do you mind if I help out? And he was like, please. So I took, instead of that spare, I just like taught this class.
That's amazing. How old were you?
I was like 17, 16 or something like
Crazy.
That. I submitted like one of the pieces and got early acceptance. At 17, I had a piece in the Illingworth Care Gallery and stuff like that. It was a drawing. It was pencil crayon. I was thinking like of mice and men, so I kind of took the body of like a World War II soldier and I drew like a hyper-realistic mouse head on it. It was just like a lot of drawing.
Okay.
A lot of like wildlife, really inspired by like Robert Bateman and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I just kind of like try to copy after their drawings or like my interests and stuff. I think it was really good. Although I did get like a warning on the first day where can't remember what class it was or what teacher it was. But he asked the whole class, like, all right, do we know what a BFA stands for? And we're like, yeah, Bachelor of Fine Arts. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, completely wrong. Bachelor of fuck all. Let's start the class.
I love that introduction. I mean, it kind of is true. But
it is kind of true. Yeah. It is kind of true.
Yeah.
But no, I had a great time at ACAD. Very, like, kind of successful. I kind of went in there hoping to be an art teacher. Okay. Because like my high school art teacher and like a lot of actually art teachers taught me like so much about life. Sculpture.
Yeah. So you jumped from drawing and then jumping into sculpture, hey?
I mean, the drawing got me into ACAD, but I always did like drawing and sculpture. Oh, okay. Like my final grade 12 year, I like made a life-size bust of like a person coming out of like wood, but like wax and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like won a couple awards and stuff amazing. Like that.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I definitely got photos of that one. I chose sculpture though because like all the other units, I found that I could kind of bullshit my way through.
Okay,
I took a painting class and I made it a goal not to make a single painting, but talk about it as if it was a painting, and I got an A.
Beautiful. I mean, I majored in painting, and it is so true. Painting classes are just exactly like that.
What I always found funny or fun at graduation shows is that everyone's major would be the opposite of like completely what their piece was. So if you saw a sculpture, you're like, drawing major.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, not wrong.
Yeah, but sculpture would always call me out because either like whether it be like drawing or painting, like you could talk about the concept, or they would admire the craftsmanship or something like that, right? So you could kind of balance it out either way. But with like the sculpture department at the time, they were like, oh yeah, I see your concept, that's good, but you could fix up here, or you make something really like well crafted, and they're like, yeah, the craftsmanship's there, but the concept's not.
Right.
So sculpture was like the one area where I got a B in.
Oh, okay.
So I went there because when you go to school, you don't want to go to school just to be told how great you are. You go to school to grow.
Yes, exactly.
So, I would tell people, you don't go there for a job. You go there to learn how to see things in a different way.
Yes, I agree.
Like, if you go to school for accounting, you're looking for an accounting job. But if you go to art school, you're not necessarily going to become an artist, but you're going to become, I like to say, like a unicorn.
I love that! A unicorn!
Because, I mean, I think it's a great accessory degree in a way.
Okay.
So let's say if you go to art school and then you have an accounting degree. Then you have like a creative outlook on how to do accounting.
Right.
It teaches you like how to think and how to create your own opportunities and not necessarily like a direct career path. I mean, another great thing about ACAD, arts, or even I think any post-secondary is there's like actually a lot of opportunities to travel.
Okay.
So like I did a semester abroad in Australia, Sydney College of the Arts and stuff like that, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
You just get like a whole nother outlook. I also applied to the Glasgow School of Arts, but they only take 2 people from each school with the highest GPA. Also, another great thing about art school is like kind of the connections you can make with your teachers.
Yeah.
Because like me and this teacher, Natalie Rodriguez, internationally known as the Goddess of Glass.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Cool title. Yeah.
Yeah, like just absolute queen. Yeah, she knew I didn't get in, but like middle of summer, she sent me like an email like, hey, there's a glass symposium in Leicester, Scotland. You want to come?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have any experience. Like, doesn't matter. You want to go to Scotland? I was like, hell yeah, let's go to Scotland. Did like kind of some in-between travels and stuff like that to like Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia and stuff like that. The first week there, yeah, it was great. Just kind of doing all the touristy stuff, also just getting lost, like meeting people at hostels, going on random adventures. Met a guy from Korea, learned a lot about like their culture as well, which was fantastic. Very successful as well. Yeah. I had like my first solo show out there. Within the 6 months I had like, I think overall like 4 or 5 shows. And yeah, I got like involved with like the university's own gallery and like kind of refurbished the Sydney College gallery they had called Dead Space.
Okay.
And the university's was called Verge. Kind of like they're attached is called the Sydney College of Arts. Which was like an old mental institution actually.
What?
But it looked like a little castle.
Whoa!
And it was so beautiful, such a great courtyard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was off campus from the University of Sydney. It was such a great community, very different art scene from here in Calgary. I find here in Calgary it's a lot more like competitive and it's all about kind of like boosting yourself up.
Right.
So you go to an art show and I find a lot of people barely look at the art. They just talk about their own art.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they see it as like a network connection.
Yeah.
Well, there it's like just about displaying art and then like talking to the artists and seeing like more about like why they made this piece.
Yeah.
Like you show them some of your work and they're like, oh, this is really cool. Like,
wow.
Let's you want to be in the show and stuff. Yeah. Like I kind of got disenchanted with the art world after art school and stuff like that. But I kind of like started realizing that like at least with the commercial aspect, like the top goal is almost to be like a laundromat for rich people, like like a money laundering in a way.
Yeah.
And then it's not even about the concept, it's just about like how much you're worth as an artist.
Yeah.
I really didn't like that.
I don't like that either.
What is it? So my past volunteer experience, my friend Ash was working at the Indefinite Art Society.
Okay.
Which while I was gone, they actually had like kind of closure because the roof collapsed.
Oh shit, yeah.
But it happened to be within the first 2 months of being back, they had a grand opening.
Oh, okay.
So my friend Ash was like, hey, you used to volunteer, like you gotta come to this grand opening. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like I want to see like some of the old clients there and some of my old co-volunteers, workers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I had this like idea of going into like art therapy. So while I was there, I actually ran into my old high school art teacher.
Oh, no way! That's neat.
Yeah, and so, you know, we caught up and she was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, are you still doing art? And I was like, well, kind of like the direction I want to go is like art therapy, and I see like, you know, lesson planning and program planning as like my new art form. And, you know, I was like, yeah, but I just came back, so, you know, looking for work. And she's like, oh, well, my daughter works at this place called Prospect, and they're actually looking for an art program coordinator that works with people with diverse abilities and teaching them skills through art and outdoor programming.
Yeah.
like, that sounds like a perfect fit for you.
Yeah.
And I never heard of it before.
Yeah.
So I met the daughter, and like within had an interview and got hired.
Damn.
For this job.
Wow. And this is the current job you're in.
This is my current job.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my job. There's a lot of creative freedom. So like, and it's also, you know, kind of like within the form of art that I'm into now with creating programs. So like I designed a whole D&D program.
So cool.
Which is inspiring, like maybe for like later to create a business out of. And then like currently now, or just wrapping up now, I started a paleontology program, even though I have no experience in it.
Whoa.
But like when I was a kid, I was really into dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Again, like that diverse interest group.
Yeah.
So now I'm also thinking about like going for a degree in archaeology with a specialty in paleontology.
That's incredible.
And yeah, so like an example of like kind of my job and how we do employment skills.
Yeah.
So running a paleontology program, you know, we're kind of learning about different time periods, what to look out for. You know, we're essentially each week we go look at rocks.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I get paid to look at rocks.
Yeah.
With no training.
Yeah.
But then I learned that I can stare at rocks for hours.
Yeah. I know. I get that. I get that
upset.
interest. Yeah. I used to collect rocks, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely go rock hunting.
Yeah, we should.
On the surface, we're looking at rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, we're teaching like focus skills. We're teaching attention to detail. Because you need to like really look for these like signs or indicators, right?
Yeah.
Memory.
Yeah.
Have them work in partners, so they're practicing teamwork, communication, feedback.
Yeah.
All these, you know, quote unquote soft skills
that
are applicable to any job. Next month, I'm going to start like a Harry Potter program.
Oh my god, dude, that sounds like fun. Yeah. Okay.
In the past, I've done like a Star Wars LARPing program. Ran again like a year-long D&D program where each campaign focused on like 2 main employability skills, but they were always focusing on like communication, decision making.
Yeah.
So like this D&D, for example, I think it could be a great opportunity. Like not only, I think everyone needs to develop these soft skills, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And our youth too, like, you know, during their development, they've lost 2 years of social interaction in the same capacity. So yeah, my idea for this D&D program, I had to make a campaign that only lasts an hour and a half.
Okay.
Because our session time was only 2 hours online on Zoom.
I see. Yeah.
So, which is really challenging because D&D or role-playing games often take like 2 hours.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And like campaigns would be, you know, or campaign sessions would be 3 to 5 hours at a time.
Yeah.
But I kind of developed a way to make it last an hour and a half with like kind of pre-recorded audio for signals for myself and make it more immersive.
Yeah.
Within like 3 chapters, each being an hour and a half, each focusing on a different skill development. And I think it'd be great to develop that for the masses as well as making it into a tutoring program. I had like a really good idea in mind a while ago for a name.
Okay.
But now it constantly changes.
Yeah.
Maybe like Quest for Success. I don't know.
I like that.
For sure. So I think like a big thing I've kind of learned is like I just don't want to stop learning. And like
never. Yeah.
Developing and having like options and stuff like that. So hopefully in the next 5 years I hope to like develop this business while, you know, working, maybe becoming like a program manager. And then also like working on maybe an archaeology degree.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that's going to take some time, but I'm not going to like rush it because it's a big thing. I would say like stay curious, be open to like adventures, like something that you like maybe never thought of, like kind of saying yes and just trying it out. Yeah. I also think it's really important, like even though I've done a lot of stuff, there's also like a lot of things I haven't done. So like looking at my brothers who, you know, they both have houses, they both have like long-term partners. Right. You know, for me, like throughout my 20s, it was like very rare for me to stay in like the same country for a year. Yeah. So I didn't have that chance to develop those like long-term relationships or those like roots and stuff like that. But both of them have value. You know, there's like a really famous quote, I think it was by Gandhi, is you don't need to blow out another's candle or your own candle to let another shine.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I also think it's really important, like, do it while you're young in a way.
Yeah, for sure. So you have the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like you have that like ambition and that blissful ignorance.
If you guys have any questions for Dan, I'm sure he's more than happy to answer them.
For sure.
I'll make sure that I like send them off to him if there is any questions. You know, I hope people do have questions because there's a lot more to Dan than this video. It's like so much more. I hope to maybe make I hope we're just saying that I hope to make a channel for Dan so we can just like pick his brain about everything. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you for making time to like come on my show. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's really cool to share these stories and have it recorded.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yay, bye.